Hi everyone, Michael here. In this video, we're going to be going over a huge issue that is going on right now. It's a very touchy subject, so not many people want to talk about it, but I think now is the right time to have this conversation because things are getting crazy, things are getting stupid, and things are getting out of control. In this video, I'm going to be going over the latest developments around the world. What you have to know is we're in a fight right now, a fight for freedom. You know, on my channel, and I'm sure many of my viewers, you're all freedom lovers, you're all liberty lovers, you all enjoy your freedoms and liberties and you'll fight for it. Right now, we're seeing more and more centralization and globalization and more centralization of power to the few. The governments and global elites are gaining more and more power over the people. There's more and more censorship going on right now. The White House just released a statement saying, they're working with Facebook to shut down anyone that, talks about what's going on with the pandemic, with coronavirus or with the vaccine. So you can't even voice your opinion anymore. So we're slowly losing, what democracy we have left in Australia, in the US, UK, Canada, wherever you're watching, France. And we're heading closer and closer to having, supreme leader, dictator, overlords like in North Korea or something. So the reason I'm making this video now is because I don't know how much longer it'll be until I can make videos like this anymore. Who knows, in the future I might make a video about this topic and boom, I might have the cops knocking on my door to take it down like, they do in China with the CCP. You post anything on social media that goes against the regime, you have police knocking on your door. And, people think, that happens in China, won't happen anywhere else in the world. Well, we're starting to see it, happen here in Australia. If you say anything negative against the government or, you make any threats or anything, you'll have cops knocking on your door. And we've seen even, just young mothers put posts on Facebook and then having the cops come in and take them away. So again, I'm just going to go over my thoughts and opinion, what's going on. And we're also going to have a look at some of the videos from today. There was a huge freedom rally in Australia today, in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, all over Australia. And it's also going on around the whole world, also in the UK and France. And, if they do try to impose restrictions in the US, I'm sure there's going to be big protests there as well. And, this is a personal finance channel. I talk about what's going on with the markets, with the stock market, housing market. Well, also, if there's more social unrest, if there's more and more lockdowns, this is just going to make the global economy shrink into a deeper and deeper recession. We think we've made it out of this global pandemic. Well, really, the cases of this, super spreader Delta variant, but I'm sure next month there'll be some, super 3000 Delta variant, which will be 10 times more deadly and contagious. But yeah, let's go ahead and have a look at some of the rallies that are going on, because I don't think people are aware of, the huge amount of unrest, amount of people getting upset with these, draconian lockdowns. I'm not sure if my viewers in the US know, in Australia, I'm in my 5th lockdown here in Victoria. That's right, 5th. What happened to, 2 weeks to flatten the curve? And, they just said, 2 weeks, well, it's now been over a year and a half. And they keep saying, look, we're doing this for your health and for your safety. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they say. They may mean that. I don't know what their, real intentions are. But when we just look at the facts, the common sense is, even if you're locked down, it'll just be a matter of a couple of weeks before, someone will come into hotel quarantine, they'll spread it, and then case will come out again. And here in Australia, we freak out over 5-10 cases when, there's places in the UK where they've got 30, 50,000 cases and, tens of thousands of cases in the US as well. All right, everyone, so let's just have a look at a few of these clips here.
Officers have issued at least 90 infringements and charged 57.
You see here with the media, they're always going to show, just all the police, arresting people, throwing people to the ground to try to scare people to go from these rallies. But if you look at your friends' social media posts, I looked at a lot of people posting, short clips on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. A lot of it was just people walking down the street in a peaceful protest. But again, the media's going to spin this and say these are crazy, chaos, anti-vaxxer, violent protests. They're absolutely crazy, out of control, and, they must be stopped at all costs.
People, the Prime Minister calling demonstrators selfish buffheads.
Chaos on the streets of Sydney.
This is unlawful.
Again, chaos on the streets.
Imprisonment, okay, for a virus of 99.7% recovery rate.
protesters blatantly.
That's a point I wanted to bring up. You know, unfortunately, there are deaths, and it is deadly for many people. But also these people that it's deadly for, the flu is deadly for them as well, or, you know, other illnesses. Again, I'm not a doctor. All I'm really going to be talking about is people's freedoms, rights and liberties, and the economic damage it's going to do, because that's my area of expertise. Again, not a health person. I'm not telling you what you should do. You can do whatever you want. You want to get the vaccine. You want to stay at home because you're scared. You know, if you've got vulnerable people in your family, it's you should be doing whatever you can to protect them. But for the people, you know, that can't survive, you know, without work, there's people that are losing everything. People that are losing their businesses. They need to get on with life. And there's not much talk of, you know, the mental health effects it's having on people. Also, people's natural immunity. If you're not, you know, regularly getting, you know, little sniffles, cold flus here, that also weakens your immune systems. There's no talk of that. There's no real talks of other strategies, specifically here in Australia and other parts of the world, besides complete and utter lockdowns where you just lose all your rights and freedoms. And, you know, this really benefits the big corporations, the big businesses, because they'll get bailouts by the central banks or by their governments. But the small businesses, they'll just get a bit of chump change here and there. But that's not going to do anything to get them out of this problem.
Ignoring health orders and police directions. They came in hordes, at least 3,000 marching.
Again, they're always going to want to downplay this. If you speak to anybody that was there was tens of thousands of people in Sydney, and, you know, there was thousands of people in Victoria, in Melbourne.
Against stay-at-home orders and tough lockdown restrictions. But it very quickly turned into a brawl, and police were outnumbered. There was no social distancing and very few face masks as they demanded.
Really? They're talking about people not social distancing at a protest, at a rally, and not wearing masks. I think this is the least of people's concerns here.
Freedom.
Freedom, eh? You ship that at home, want to sit at home and do nothing for your kids, your families. Don't be weak, fight for the freedom.
Mounted police stood their ground as they tried to disperse the crowd. Momentum soon heated up, this man taking a rare opportunity to practice his fire dancing skills on a large audience.
I think he's got a bit of work to do here, guys. Just some of my thoughts and opinions on these fire dancing skills.
But police weren't entertained. Authorities had denied requests for the planned rally to go ahead and warned protesters not to attend.
It's not really the time for people to come together closely, to exercise what they would think is their democratic right, and it may well be.
And that's right, it is their democratic right to go out there and protest, free speech. But what these government officials keep saying is public health overrides everything. It overrides all your human rights. It overrides free speech, your democratic rights. What they say goes. So they all say, you've got democracy, you've got freedom, but what I say is above that, and public health is above that.
Unrelenting, calling for the New South Wales Premier, who was replaced by the Health Minister at the press conference.
Where are you, Gladys? This is where you're supposed to be here and bring the people here a bit of calmness here, because everyone's a little bit upset over the situation.
Right to be upset, we got no freedom. We want freedom!
New South Wales Police have made
Freedom!
a number of arrests and expect more to come.
What we saw today were 3,500 very selfish bullheads, people that thought that the law didn't apply to them. There is no doubt in my mind that at least one individual there today had COVID. It is statistically impossible for us not to consider that. I'm appealing to all 3,500 people to go and get tested tomorrow.
Here we go, guys. This is where our public health officials that, you know, we didn't elect are going to tell us what to do, and that what they say is above our rights.
We live in a democracy, and normally I am certainly one who support people's right to protest, but I actually think it's really silly.
So again, he's saying here, normally he does, you know, support people's rights for free speech and to protest, but his health orders are above everything.
It was a similar scene in lockdown Melbourne. Protesters carrying coffins shouted chants of freedom and sack Dan Andrews. But when officers surrounded the group, organisers told the crowd to leave. In Brisbane, protesters targeted their anger at the government and the media.
When in history have we seen governments work together? Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, doesn't matter. Yeah, put it on. Be a sheep. Put it on. I don't care. Be a sheep. You see, and like all of us, we're not muzzled like you.
Thousands marched through the city, many without masks, but no arrests were made or fines issued in line with current restrictions, which do not require masks in outdoor settings.
Okay, sales from Sky News. Here's just another quick highlight from The Guardian.
You should have marched! No good.
Just want to be clear, I don't support, assaulting police or the poor horses, but a chant that was out there in the protest is "You serve us," and that's right. The government is there to serve us. We're the ones that pay their salaries. They're there to work for us and serve us. We're not there to serve them. As you can see here, people, there's tens of thousands of people here, not just a few thousand like the media would say. But everyone, what you have to know is this isn't just happening in Australia, this is happening around the world, in UK and France as well. Because, like I said, if you want to get the vaccine, you get the vaccine. But what I'm seeing is a lot of governments, they're trying to make it mandatory. So I think people should have, the right to choose what happened to, your body, your choice, right? It seems to apply to certain things, but not with this vaccine. And also, with the lockdowns, I think it's time to talk about some kind of other strategy because, like I said, the lockdowns aren't working. They'll lock down, case will get down lower, then they'll open up, and then just a couple of weeks later, they'll put us in lockdown again. So that's obviously not working. And also, even in countries that have huge amounts of vaccination, like in the UK and in the US, they still got cases rising. It doesn't stop you from getting COVID. From what I hear from studying the literature, all it does is lowers your risk of hospitalization or death, so it makes it more mild. But again, you want to get that. But for me personally, I don't want to take a vaccine that's been rushed. Obviously, Bill Gates, he's been bragging how he speaks every day with his big pharma companies. He predicted this pandemic. And just me, again, because I talk about the markets, companies, stock market, I'm thinking if I was a, big pharma company and I wanted a vaccine in this pandemic, because obviously the first person, the second person, third person to create this vaccine will make hundreds of billions of dollars. There's some little side effects here and there. I'll kind of probably brush that off because I want to get that big paycheck. And so we have seen with the AstraZeneca vaccine that, there has been deaths, there has been blood clots, but if you post that online, that's fake news, that's conspiracy theory talk. You can't say anything negative against the regime and you'd be shut down straight away. So let's have a look at some other rallies that are going on across the world in the UK and France as well. So as we can see here, people, they try to make it out that, there's only a few people think this. I think the majority of people think this. But most people, don't normally go to protests. But I think you're starting to see people that have never been to protests starting to go. And so this is the Freedom Rally in the UK a few days ago as well.
Arrest the police! Arrest them! You're a criminal!
They don't seem too happy.
Over 100,000 people marched across France Saturday to protest against President Emmanuel Macron's plans to force the vaccination of health workers and require a COVID-19 vaccine certificate or negative test to gain entry to bars, restaurants, and movie theaters. Demonstrators say Macron's sweeping measures, announced this week to fight a surge in COVID infections, infringe on their freedom of choice.
That's right, everyone. You should have your freedom to choose. And also what we're seeing is these, COVID passports where, some people may think, oh, it's the mark of the beast, that people predicted that you'd need to buy or sell in the future. But really they're saying, it's not mandatory, but, you won't be able to fly, you won't be able to go shops. Some workplaces are threatening staff. They don't get it. They can't work there. So they're pretty much saying it's not mandatory when it is. And we'll just have a look at Canada, because even Canada is protesting as well.
But clearly some people don't think we should wait that long. An anti-lockdown protest in Montreal forced the city's largest vaccination center to close Saturday.
I think it's not fair what they're doing. Summer's coming back. We want our freedom back. We need our summer.
Politicians and health officials say the sooner people follow the rules, the sooner things can go back to normal. And demonstrations like this one may only prolong the lockdowns. Michael Couture, Global News, Ottawa.
So everyone, as you can see, people are getting fed up with these draconian lockdowns, and people are getting fed up with their freedoms and liberties being taken away. And again, I just wanted to make this video because I don't know how long it'll be until I can't make videos like this. I don't know, the amount of censorship that's going to be coming to YouTube that's like happening on Facebook. So I thought I would just share my thoughts and opinions. Of course, I think the virus is real, but I think they're making it seem a lot more deadly and bad than it is. I think people, that want to get the vaccine, you get the vaccine. But I don't think they should force people that don't want to get it. And I also think that the lockdowns aren't working, and there needs to be some talk of some other solutions, because if they continue these lockdowns throughout this year, they've already spent trillions and trillions of dollars to fight this global recession, and I don't think they'll have the same amount of ammunition to fight off another global recession. So everyone, what do you think about this big issue? You let me know down below. Now, for all my loyal viewers and subscribers still watching, you're awesome. If you haven't already, please tap that like and subscribe button. I'll keep you up to the latest happening in the housing market, stock market, and global finance news. And if you're bored, I'll put up some other videos here. I'll see you all there.